ladies and gentlemen. We heard about the very insightful mixture of Quuppa with alcohol. And I'm not talking about last night. I'm talking about what can happen in a hospital when you could actually have location with the use of sanitizer. That's one. But now the bigger picture in hospitals. How can this bring value to the people's health in that kind of institution? So we have together with us the IT director at Stavanger University Hospital in Norway, talking about exactly that, data-driven decision-making in smart hospitals. Cato Hemvik, welcome.
Thank you very much. Yeah, the microphone is working. That's good. So, I talked about hangover today. So I miss the interpretation of culture awareness. I thought I was invited to the hangover party. But it seems the party has already left the building. So it's just hangover again. And then you got the hours after lunch. That's a killer, isn't it? That really is a killer. So in a way, how should we use the next half an hour and not bore ourselves? So, thank you for the invitation and travel again. I've seen lots of people from different places around the world. And at least from Japan also, I heard 3 years in Japan, now travel again, meet people, get some energy out of it. That's a good thing. So, and then we have met on Teams many times. And then you come to events and you see that, oh, is that your brother or maybe your sister? Because you're similar, but not so similar actually. So that's why I have my tie on today, but I think the pictures show that one. But in a way, to get some energy into this audience, I think this is going to be hard work. So yeah, thank you very much. My name is Cato Hemvik. I'm from the University Hospital in Norway. I've been working there for 2 years. Let's see if that technology is working. Previous roles, I was a data center sales executive in Norway and Iceland for Dell Technologies for 4 years. So I've never been working in an American company before, so I need to try that one. And then I've been working in oil and gas, fish, supply vessels, IT hosting, and IT manufacturers. So I have little knowledge in lots of different areas. So actually to be an event like this is actually scary. I heard the panel discussion a little bit earlier today about the knowledge you have in the audience. And for me, coming here and talking about IoT, you know everything about IoT. So what can I add actually to this audience? That's going to be the questions. Okay, let's see, let's try. So what are you going to talk about today? I started in the hospital 2 years ago. This is also the public sectors. I know there was a discussion about public sectors earlier today. How do we engage? How does they think? Where is the money? Where is the decisions? And I've tried to figure out myself. I have a little bit closer to the answers, so if we have time, we can discuss a little bit that afterwards. But the journey started 2 years ago. And then we ending up with a platform, and then this was the task. So in Stavanger at the moment, we are building the biggest land project in Norway, or land building project in Norway, 120,000 square meters. There was someone talking about square meters here earlier today. 120,000 square meters we are building at the moment. But that is just the stage one. The rest of the hospital need to move in maybe, hopefully, 5 to 10 years. That's 102,000 square meters also. So nearly at the same size as this building. 230,000 square meters. So it's a huge project. And actually been nominated to the world's most digital project. So we use the 3D map all over the place. We don't have any papers on site. We have lots of different stages. We can go into the different 3D measuring. We're using the same technology as the oil when we're building oil platforms to do all the class checks for the pipes and wiring and all that stuff. So we have already started with lots of technology into it. So the laser is here. This is the bed area. This is the operation, all the medical equipment stuff. This is the special area for children, and this is more for administration. This is the emergency area. Scandinavia's biggest area for emergency. It's actually 30% of the patients need to be turned around in that area, or else the rest of the hospital is too little. So we need to be quite efficient in that area to, in a way, treat the patients. So these are the operation rooms, actually prefabricated in Germany, put together in a container, and then everything is standardized. So my task is how much value can I get out of this emergency room of information? And then we have the world's largest robot storage. Instead of a bigger storage with like 2,000 square meters on the ground floor, we're just building a storage like 10 feet or floors high instead. So in a way, area can have their own storage. So it's actually the same way as you order something on Amazon. It's the same technologies. But we never used this technology before. So what does it mean for us? Who is going to pick up the storage? How do you know that the goods are in the right position at the right time? So we need to figure out that. We haven't figured out yet. And then, when I was started in the hospital, I had a meeting with my director at the hospital and talk about IoT or technology. And I said, should we talk us out of this problem or should we talk us into this problem? There's lots of people talking out of the problems. This is not in a way my area. There's somebody else. And she said, yeah, we need to talk us into this area. But I believe that would solve lots of our problems in the future. So we need to talk it into it. Because I know that we'll get lots of hassle in the organization when I start talking about this here. But to have top management involvement and approval, yes, let's talk into solving some of our issues with using IoT or technology. So, everything here, and somebody mentioned that when you're working in this type of environment, we need to have some documentation of everything. So we can use Gartner, but that is our world, not their world. So I've been using World Economy Forum for a while to look into what technology says about healthcare. And these are all documents already. So there's nothing new under the sun. It's actually there. We need to interpret it. What does it mean for us as an organization? And what should we solve? Yeah, we're going to all populations, higher cost, all that is actually known. What are you going to use? We're going to use artificial intelligence, big data, virtualization, machine learning, and everything. Everything is known. There's nothing new under the sun. And we're going to use different ways to show or have engagement with the resources. So that is nothing new either. And then, when we look into the IoT world, or the trends of the 4th industrial revolution, you have talked about many times, I guess. But to just understand what IoT can mean for us. So it's actually tracking assets, simple as that. It's also conditioning monitoring, simple as that. And security monitoring. So we can actually put into 3 easy categories of focus. What should we use IoT for? And then it was a very important lesson in that journey. That was this conclusion here. And the conclusion says that no standards for IoT devices exist on a global level. When you come to big enterprise organization, there's always an IT department, isn't it? And that IT department is a hassle. Yeah? Agree? Yeah? Good. You're not sleeping. And actually to have that in your pocket as evidence, there is no standardization on the global level for IoT. But the IT guy, he said, yeah, but we invested in Cisco. Have you heard that before? Yeah. No, never heard it before, yeah? Yeah, he has. And we're going to use triangulation to figure out everything. No, that will not work in everything. So we need to use the best of the standardization we have to different use cases and not try to ruin the use cases with using the wrong technology to the wrong problem. So in my pocket, I say, we just need to start. Then I need to understand how IoT is working. I've been working in the industry for 30 years, so I'm smarter than I look. Yeah? You took, yeah? But to understand IoT, because I've been not directly in IoT before, but a vessel, you know, a supply vessel, have 3,000 to 5,000 sensors. So I've been looking in a little bit to that one before. But to understand the whole picture of IoT, I found this formula here, actually. For me, it was a formula, because I need to understand the sensors. I need to understand the connectivity. Connectivity is everything, isn't it? And we talk about there's no standardization. So there is no answers. So there are several connectivities I need to understand. And then I need to understand how the IoT service providers, how can I get the information? How can I get the information out? And how, at least, can I put it to the end users so they understand what I'm talking about? This is a lot of hard work, isn't it? To understand all this stuff. Do you know how many people I have on the IT department in the hospital? We have 6,000 computers, and we have hundreds of thousands of patients every year, and so on and so on. So do you know how many people I have on IT stuff? Guess? 5, 9, yeah? Somewhere there? Yeah? 3. 3 people in the IT stuff. But I have I have a shared service organization at 600 people. So I need to utilize them. But as we already discussed, they are the hassle, isn't it? But they say, we need the standardization. We have Cisco. You need to listen to us. We have Cisco. You cannot do what you like to do. So I need to convince them too. So that's actually lots of hard work to convince them that this is. So what I did that happened was a lucky moment. I met a guy. He's called Gunnar. He is in the audience. He has also passion in the same way. I have passion to solve this problem. Yes, it was a lucky move. I said, Gunnar, you need to fix this for me. I have 3 people. How many people do you have? Yeah, I'm the only one. But I knew somebody else. Oh, yeah, you also knew something. Yeah, good. Can we put our heads together? Yes, we can. Great. And then the journey was going forward. So then I need also to convince more of my organization that we have all the documents inside the organization. We have all the strategies in place. We talk about technologies from 19 to 23. We talk about IoT, artificial intelligence. We talk about big building projects. We talk about the cloud, light, IT, and all this stuff here, patients and treatment, medication. We have lots of documentation. You know, we produce a lot of documentation in government organizations. But we are extremely high efficiency what we do. But do we get effect of what we're doing? That is maybe the questions. Because what I've learned from the organization of the public sector, I never met so many people that is more, in a way, looking into what they not have responsibility for than the people they have responsibility for. But it's true. I try to understand it. I use 2 years now to understand why, and that is lack of resources. So they need, in a way, be defensive of what the task they do, because they have 3 people on IT. I have a budget for nearly 400 million NOK a year is my budget. 400 million NOK, 3 people. So like over 100 million NOK per people. So we have lots of responsibility, but lack of resources. Therefore, we need to say, this is not my responsibility. And you need to understand that when you're working with public sectors. Because you cannot just open a door and hope something is happening. Because nothing is happening. So, I just need to look at the watch here. You see the problem already? Yeah. But I have some more minutes still going on. So, then I need to, in a way, convince my organization, my top management team, what we're trying to achieve. Has somebody seen these drawings before? Yeah, it was used many times, hasn't it? But my management team in the hospital have never seen it before. So I need to convince them. So the success is between the processes, the people, and technologies. So when we like to get the nurses to do something else, and we are changing our process of treatment of the patients, that will have consequences for the technology. And opposite. If we change the technologies, that will influence the people and also ruin our processes if it doesn't work. So, what is the most important? The culture inside the organization, to understand what this means for us. Somebody mentioned that the hospitals or the organization had changed a little bit now. They have, in a way, their own development teams inside the organizations. And the panel, it was very interesting to listen to the panel here earlier today. You have all the answers. Yeah, you can believe in yourself. You have all the answers. So, the problem is here, and also the lucky thing here is actually we have now organization development teams inside the organization. So you have somebody else to talk with outside the IT guy or the IT manager that's trying to stop you for ruining his standardization. So there are the key. So when I found out that we have actually organization development team in the organization, I said, yes, I'm not important. You are important. You're going to solve the problem for the hospital in the future, how we're going to work in the new building. And I can actually talk 2 hours about just the new building and organization changes. So actually, it was not me who's going to be on this stage today. It was actually the project manager for the organization change that should be on this stage today. So why isn't she here? Somebody asked some questions earlier today. So, what effect can we get? So we actually look into Kari is her name. She is the director of organization development. So increasing patient safety, increasing productivities, increasing utilization, reducing equipment loss, more efficient use of space, and so on and so on. I think we actually took some words on some slides over here, because everybody hears the same word on the slides. So it's actually easy to agree on this stuff here, isn't it? So to find a starting point, that is most important. Not to figure out that you have the right starting point or agree if it should be that way or that way. It's actually to find a starting point. Where do you start? To find that in the organization. So we find this, in a way, topics here. So then we have 2 focuses from the hospital and out to the patient. Because, when we talk about the new hospital, we shouldn't actually talk about how big the new hospital should be. We should actually talk about how little could it be. But if the hospital is very small, then we treat the patient at home. Then that is a success rate, isn't it? Actually, to put the treatment of the patient at their home instead of moving them to hospital all the time. All our strategy is saying that we need to do that. So if we build a large hospital, we actually fail on that strategy. If you build a small hospital and actually have the patient home, that would be actually a good strategy. So with looking into this one here is like starting the mindset of what can we actually know about the patients or the equipment we have at home? Can we start that journey? Because we need to solve that journey. Not today, not in 5 years, but in 10 years, we need to solve that. So we need to start somewhere. So in Norway, we have this vendor here. They have a huge LoRaWAN network in Norway. So they said, yeah, you can just use the LoRaWAN technology. It's for free. Okay, good. And then, what should I do then? I have connectivity. What do I need? Somebody help me? Sorry? Yes, devices. Yeah, the value chain, doesn't it? I need a sensor. Who has the sensor? Lyse doesn't have the sensor. They know a guy that has a sensor. So actually in Norway, they know a guy. He has this sensor here. It's a LoRaWAN sensor. It's actually measuring temperatures in the fjords in Norway. So everybody knows where to go to have a cold bath or a hot bath. Depends on. But the producer there doesn't have a CE marking on its device. And I need to put my device on equipment, medical equipment. So that actually stopped the whole project. It actually stopped because he just know one sensor guy, and that sensor didn't work for my purpose, and therefore the project is stopped. So if anybody have a good LoRaWAN sensor that I can put on my medical equipment to trace at home at the patients, yes, please come with a solution for me. And then we was looking into the process of doing this one here. So, the sensors and the technology is not important, it's how you come to conclusion of using the sensor. So what we did inside the project is we actually take the organization through, that they need to go through how they are working, and they need to go through how they use the technology and the different ways. This was the sensor didn't work, but all the equipment they have, when they scan the equipment, when they transport equipment, and all that, all the process. But they learned something from it. We didn't manage to get the sensor in place, but they learned a lot from doing the project, of going through their minds and what they're working and how they do that. So that's important. But then we have inside the hospital, and we have 4 different projects inside the hospital, and that's the bed area, that is day treatment, then emergency flow, and operation flow. So, now I met Gunnar. Or, no, I met Gunnar earlier, but he has already delivered now. And that is my digital platform. How cool is that? How many of you have a digital platform or digital twin for your buildings? You have one. Cool. Then we have 2. And you have a digital twin for your building. Cool. Yeah. So I'm a CEO, IT directors go to my colleagues and say, do you have a twin of your building? No, I should have one. Yeah, you should have one, correctly. So, anyway, just to show this to my management team, after a couple of weeks after I met Gunnar, I have a digital twin of the building. I can start learning something from it. Oh, didn't that take, yeah, we are building a new building. That has taken 4 years, and the beam model to that building, yeah, that was a hassle. And I think it cost 10 million or something like that. How can you manage to get a building in 1 week? And under your budget, where you took the money from? Yeah, I have some money. So that was the first evidence that we actually achieved something. So again, there was something talking about people here. I think the Philips guy, the sales guy from Philips, so Panasonic, sorry. He said about the trust of the people. Yeah, it is actually trust. It's actually the trust that I've tried to build up with our management team for 2 years now. It was actually the trust I'm building up with meeting Gunnar and his delivery. So now we have a huge of trust between us, and then we have the moment to do something about it. So, smart cleaning. Somebody heard about cleaning, the Melbourne guy. It was easy, isn't it? Because you go into clinical discussion about doctors, then you're lost already, haven't you? What do you know about my treatments? Do you know about patients? It's my areas, my responsibility, it's my patient. Yeah, get out of my office. So how can you start? Yeah, cleaning, yeah. How often get the cleaning personality, how often did they get help? Yeah, can you please move around? Yes, I will move around, yeah. Can you please go to the office, I just need to vacuum? That's the help they got. But to help to solve the problem they have, how many people are caring about them? It's easy to care about them. It's easy to get attention. So we start the cleaning area. So there was actually an office area, huge office area, under the pandemic that was not very often used. So we're starting there. How can we clean the area? Because it's nearly not used. You clean every day, every second day. You know the story. So it was an easy area to do. And then, after a while, we can actually take some decision about where to clean, what is the area used. These offices over here is actually managed by another hospital or university. But in the pandemic, they're never there. This is a proof. They're never there. Because we got some income, so that's fine. And then, when we have the sensor in place, yeah, we have temperature. We have environment information. Who cares about the environment? The quality guys or the persons. They care about the environment. They go around and check the environment every month, every week, somewhere. But I can give the information. You don't need to go that round anymore because I have the information already. And then, this is actually toilets. It's a very important area, isn't it? So, we have in the hospital, we got complaints about a lack of toilet paper. So what do you do when you have complaints? You try to compensate, don't you? So then we put sensors into the toilets, paper rolled, put it up, you know it, just tape, measure the distance, then you have results. Quite easy. It actually takes 5 minutes. But it was a genius, wasn't it? We sell it like a genius. And then the cleaner said, yeah, that was good information, because I don't need to be scared anymore when I come to the office. I said, oh, did I change the toilet, did I not? Did I get a complaint today? Because then we saw that they're changing actually paper like 70 or 60%. They start to change it, because they always need to be secure that they don't get a complaint for something. I said, but no, you have control. Can you change it in 40%? Can 20% be going? Yeah, maybe. So they started to try that one. But then they said, yeah, how many people are actually going into the toilets? Can we actually know that? Because if they're using little paper, or one guy using lots of paper, I can figure out how many people have been there. Can you do that? Of course we can do that. That takes 5 minutes too. And then we take the new sensors, get the numbers, and then they know about the traffic and the paper. But the confidence they're building up, and somebody cares about their situation, that will be worth hundreds of NOK. The time and the cost for this one, yeah, it's not brain surgery, isn't it? It's easy to get it. So, we look into patient room, a small patient room. That is actually been a hard thing to solve. So how far have we come? We look into the different rooms, see what the needs of the different rooms, pulse, temperatures, cleaning, and we also have equipment. We look into the patient. What does the patient need? Alarms, maybe help with the door closing, food ordering. Then we look into the nurses, what they need, and the doctors, what do they need. So we have started somewhere, but the problem is here a little bit about their domains. We now go into their domains. So we need to build a trust again. So that is what that project is not going so fast as we should like to have them. Yeah, that was the movie. Hopefully technology is working.
Stavanger Universitet Sykehus has the world's first accurate positioning system in an emergency room. Equipment, employees, and patients can be tracked using simple tags with an accuracy of less than 50 centimeters in the empathic building.
We implemented location tracking and sensor technology so we can learn about its capabilities for our use cases. We aim to use this technology in the future in the new hospitals that we are building. But first, we have to learn how the information we receive from the sensors can be used in everyday operations. As an example, we can locate our ultrasound equipment by typing ULTRA. The results display our 4 pieces of ultrasound equipment, and we can select the one we are looking for. The screen will then center on this, which in a busy workday is a lot easier than looking into 13 different rooms with patients in to try to locate the equipment. For us, this solution is very important in gaining better control of rooms and equipment. We focused on 3 main aspects. First of all, we searched the market for a supplier with this kind of competence. We then wanted to make a digital twin of our building with a 3D model. Haltian had a great solution for this, with short implementation period, which enabled us to get started quickly. The final aspect was how to use this technology in our everyday operations, and we are still working on this with several different use cases. The system was installed in our emergency room during normal operation. The result is a several hundred square meter emergency room where the green areas indicate where we currently have coverage. The user interface is pretty intuitive when you first start using the software. It will be exciting to see how this will be used in the future.
The empathic building is unique in the sense that it combines all kinds of digital information from many suppliers. For example, location tracking, temperature control, or if our equipment needs maintenance.
Our ultimate goal is to get more out of our daily operations and care for our patients. We look forward to seeing how the sensors can also help us to support the treatment of our patients in the future. The experience so far is that this really has potential. We still haven't reached our final goals, but we are getting closer and closer every day.
How cool wasn't that? You're a little bit excited as me? Thank you. And somebody saw who was the patient? Gunnar, yeah. So the hard work here was actually to run over Gunnar with a car. So he actually could be a patient. But this video here is a symbol of many things. Is that actually we can actually show to something. We can actually show the management team something. We can actually show something to ourselves that we have something to believe in. We have managed to do. And then also we've got the head nurse of emergency area actually to stand in the video, the confidence of actually be on the video and talk about technologies or IoT, what's happening with it, is a huge benefit for us. And also, in a way, to be that hospital in Norway that has this solution and has this video is also nice to have a bit more energy of what we're going to do next. So, and I think one important lesson here also is that we look into the value chain of the IoT and to understand that one. But the sensors is not important. The connectivity is not important. The interface with the users is the important thing. That is really the important things. And that is, in a way, what I have felt so far. It's my first time to this event, in a way. Why haven't been to this event before? The question again. Somebody talked about earlier, how can you engage the technology environment with the business need environments? Is actually then to have something to talk about. The drawings, the buildings, that give confidence. And then you guys or girls need to solve the rest. And you need to work together to solve it, because there is lots of use cases. It doesn't mean that the LoRaWAN or Bluetooth or whatever is the answer of anything. It doesn't matter if it's Thingsby or Apple, whatever sensor device that is important. It's to bring learning to the organization as fast as possible. And then we can learn about the effect of the technologies and the strength of the technology afterwards. But actually to show something, to keep the moment up, to keep the energy up, start to learn is very important. So I don't think I have been able to make that video if I don't have a good drawings and a good interface environment as Haltien gives me. So after that one, starting with cleaning. Remember that. We're starting with toilet paper, guys or girls. Very exciting project. Very exciting. We're ending up with this project here. It has potential to saving hundreds of millions. Hundreds of millions potential to save in this project here. And that's come from toilet paper. And I will try to explain. This area here is the old area for the old hospital today. This department here is the clinic for youth. They're going to move from 29 rooms to 14 rooms in a new hospital. So this is the new area that this organization is moving into, and that's part of all this area here. So how can you get like 29 rooms down to 14 rooms? How can you believe in that is going to happen? How many people has been on Top Gun? Seen Top Gun 2? Was it good? Yeah, you really feel the energy, don't you? If you're a believer, of course. But what was the killer? What was the killer of convincing the best of the best, 1% of the world's best pilots, that actually the mission could be solved? What was the key? Show them. Yes. 1%, the best of the best in the world, didn't believe in it. They should have the confidence, shouldn't they? Yeah. They should have the training to just do it, shouldn't they? But they also need to believe it. So how can we convince then that department that moving into new hospital with 29 rooms, 14 rooms is going to happen? Yes, we're going to use the sensors we have. So I don't have in a way but you know the building you see over there. So what is actually happening is so actually stupid simple. It's actually a little bit embarrassed to tell about it because you're so technical guys. We use the sensors of activity in the room. Is the room used or not used? And then we make a digital twin of the new hospital. So we say that if we then make a standardization, say these two rooms here, these 3 rooms here is that room there, and these 2 rooms are that room. Then live, we can see that if these rooms are used in the same time, if we get a red room over here, then we have a crash. The timetable or the rotation of the patients is crashing because we can see that. So now we can change the timetable or the rotation of our patients and nurses and doctors to try to move into the new building before we move in. And you technology guys or persons or girls, yeah, we know that environment now. We can just talk about persons, not women and men anymore. So it's quite easy, isn't it? The signal from one sensor is just sent to 2 drawings. How hard is that? But it looks like $1 million, doesn't it? Yeah. So why I say this in a way potential is saving hundreds of millions. Because other hospitals in Norway, we are building lots of new hospitals in Norway, and single-bed hospital is the trend. And then also we try to force our patient home, therefore reducing the space. So we need to force them to be at home or force them to think different. So that every hospital had this here. But they're using the new area in the same way they use the old area. It doesn't fit. It really doesn't fit. So they need to build a new building because the plan didn't work. Because it's not my responsibility to figure out this, is it? Somebody else needs to figure out. So then the answer is a new building because it didn't work. And that we see in several different hospitals now. And Gunnar has Kirkenes, I think you have, on the drawings, yeah? They have been really into the newspapers already about their plans and how the clinical people going out to the newspapers and complaining about the spaces in the office and the patient treatment and the safety of the patients, and you have lost the discussion. Because who is saying that the safety of the patient is not important? Nobody can say that. So if you come to that end of the problem, you have lost. Then the answer is a new building. So we really tried. The hospital in Norway, because we have this organization development team, we really try to use simulation in the old building. So we have actually a saying that we're going to move from the old building to the new building as is. What does that mean? Yeah, we need to implement all the changes in the old building before we're moving into the new building. So nothing is new. Everything is trained, is in place, routines is in place, understanding the culture. Because when the surgeon stands in a new building and do his first operation, he doesn't need to think about routines or my mobile phones or how the equipment is working. They need to focus on the patient. That is patient safety. So, and this is actually, just in a way to put Gunnar on his toes, this we report into the board as the answer for the building and the budget for the new building, that we actually managed to have the area is going to work. So we're not ending up with building a new building after 5 years. So, for some inspiration, we have another science project going on, that we actually got medical equipment or surgery equipment, not medical equipment, surgery equipment. They get lost, and they're expensive, and sometimes they get lost in the patient, and sometimes they get lost in the area. But anyway, they get lost. So, and also in a way, which equipment is which equipment? Do you have in a way two same equipment? It looks like the same, but are they the same? So there are actually a project that's going to look into the DNA of the steel. So you measure the DNA in the steel, then you have unique DNA of that equipment, because somebody says that the steel is not the same in every equipment. It looks like the same, but it's not the same. So in that way, we can figure out which equipment it is. So yeah, there's lots of technologies that you have in place. I also had somebody from Australia was here. They maybe left, yeah. I had a doctor from a hospital in Melbourne visit me yesterday, and his conclusion was the same as me. We are so lucky. We have all the technologies we need. So, remember, this is not a charter trip. It's not a pre-packaged something. You not just buy it, put it on it, and jumping off when you're in a way finished. But an expedition. How many have been on an expedition before? Cool. Yeah, it's hard work, isn't it? Lots of planning, lots of preparation. So, I got some inspiration from this girl here. She's 5 years old. She then going over the Finnmark plateau. Yeah, you are in Finland, so you know what Finnmark is. It's the same as your, in a way, snow area over there, cold as, yeah. And she's going to walk over there with his dad. And the trip take 24 days, and it was wind 24 days. So, but they are smiling. They have a good trip. And the most important lesson is actually what the dad said. It's about listening to what Mia is interested in her world, and talking about this seriously. We talk a lot about the trip, quiet, long time in advance, and go through it so that she can build motivation and ownership for the expedition. That is the most important part. So that is also my experience with my trip, is actually to build the confidence in my organization, talk slowly with my managers, that this is not scary, we'll manage. You have not responsibility, I can take the responsibility. So my advice, just do it. You will never get the time back. The learning you get is learning worth something. Get out there, but never alone. You need a Gunnar. You cannot do this alone. Doesn't matter if you have 500 employees in your IT department. You need partnership. You need to work on each other. Sometimes you get a dead end. There must be somebody else that can help you. And dare to learn. That is what you make you brave. So how brave can you be? Thank you.
Great job. Thank you. Wow. We'd have time for a couple of questions?
Of course we have.
Yes,
My flight is going tomorrow morning.
Well, wonderful. So we have all afternoon. Oh, we had another keynote right now, actually. But it doesn't matter. This is very interesting. Please, question.
I'm interested to understand the screens that you actually had in the area where the nurse was talking. Is there a reason that you decided, and this is off topic for what we're talking about, but is there a reason you decided to go with visual screens like that in the facility rather than just having them access to a PC where they could actually go and search for those devices from a handheld or from a computer? Is there a reason you went visual in that environment?
That was the same key as the Top Gun. Seeing is believing. You need to see something. And we see that in different implementation we do in the hospital. We start with a big screen. We are working with patients and patient resources planning. And we have big screens in the area of bed areas. But that will just innovate to get the ownership. But in 5 years, it will be in a mobile phone. But seeing is believing.
And it was necessary to have that big screen at this stage.
They can touch it also. It's a touch thing, isn't it?
Okay.
Yes, you can actually touch the building.
Right.
You actually touch the equipment. Yeah?
Cool. All right.
Okay, my name is Gunnar. And,
Hey, Gunnar. There he is, the hero of the story. We all need a Gunnar.
Yeah. I want to thank Cato because I'm a biomedical engineer and have been working with hospitals for 20 plus years. And these are challenging organizations to get into. And I don't have much hair left, but I think that the thing you have achieved in the hospital in terms of convincing and talking quietly, engaging over time is, of course, as for me as a supplier, highly appreciated. But I think it will become quite an important global driver for positioning technology in general. So thank you for that.
Yeah, and thank you, Gunnar, in a way that when Gunnar called me, I said, I have a technology. It's called Quuppa. Who is Quuppa? No, it's technology. Okay. That I didn't need to know anymore.
Gunnar drove it home.
Yes. Just like the Melbourne guy in a way. He was more like tech guy. But I have 3 people again. So the trust and believe in technologies and his vendor again, or his partnership, was important to get going forward.
Yes, one more question.
So what were the main drivers at the beginning in terms of the value chain that you were looking at to achieve? Is it somewhat comparable to the industry? I mean, in the industry, you would have to increasing takt times, right? Producing things faster. Do you see similarities in that direction?
The most important thing for the journey, if I understand your question correctly, is actually that all industry know that technology will need to solve problem for us. And all the industry knows that the IoT world will have some part of it. But the problem was that we didn't know what it means for us. And we're investing billions of NOK in a new building, and we don't know what that technology can give us of help. So the most important was actually starting the journey, not to set the goals.
That is so important. And this can go awfully wrong. You know, I was speaking to a big hospital in central Finland. Brand new. Brand new. Millions and millions of euros. Nothing worked.
No.
For months. And it was a lot about, you know, being open-minded, the growth mindset of how we can learn this together that was missing in the end. So you've done a fantastic job. Let's give him a big hand for coming in today. Thank you.
So always bring some heart with me.
Aww.
Thank you very much.
Aww. That's very, very kind. Thank you. And you were also splendidly entertaining. If you want to ever leave the hospital, you can work for our speaker bureau.
No, but I'm passionate about what I'm doing. And that is important things. You need to believe in it.
And we can see that. Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you so much. Wonderful.